He grew up in a modest council house just a few miles from the roaring stands of Old Trafford, in the cramped streets of Failsworth, where the pavements cracked under worn-out boots and the drizzle never quite stopped. Young Jim Ratcliffe chased a battered football with a fierce determination that belied his humble surroundings. To the neighborhood kids, it was just a game. But for Jim, it was something far more profound, a dream shaped beneath the looming shadow of the stadium he worshipped. The red of Manchester United was stitched into the fabric of his childhood, a constant in a world of working-class grit and everyday struggle. Every match was a story of hope and resilience, a reminder that greatness could be born from the toughest places. For Jim, the club wasn't just a pastime, it was a symbol of possibility, a beacon that whispered, "One day you could be part of this." Fast forward several decades, and that boy from the council estate is no longer standing on the terraces. Instead, he walks through those hallowed gates as the man in charge. Sir Jim Ratcliffe, self-made billionaire, industrial titan, and lifelong United fan, has transformed his childhood passion into something concrete and commanding, ownership of the club he adored. But this is no ordinary takeover story. It's a journey of relentless ambition, strategic mastery, and an unwavering belief that a single fan, armed with patience and precision, can reshape the destiny of a global sporting icon. From the muddy streets of Failsworth to the polished boardrooms of Old Trafford, Jim Ratcliffe's story is a testament to how deep-rooted loyalty, combined with shrewd business acumen, can turn dreams into reality, and how one man's vision might just revive the theater of dreams for a new era. In the high-stakes world of football ownership, the loudest, most aggressive bidder often grabs the headlines. But Sir Jim Ratcliffe's path to Manchester United's boardroom was defined by a far more subtle, calculated approach. It wasn't the biggest bid that ultimately won the day, it was the smartest. Across the globe, Sheikh Jassim of Qatar was making waves with an all-out attempt to take full control of the club, throwing vast sums into the fray and signaling a willingness to engage in a costly bidding war. Yet, while the spotlight shone on this dramatic showdown, Ratcliffe played a different, quieter game, one that echoed the very principles that had guided him to build Ineos into an industrial powerhouse. Ratcliffe's approach was rooted in patience and financial discipline, rather than chasing the headlines or getting caught in an inflated auction. He understood the danger of overpaying for a beloved institution like Manchester United. The Glazer family, who held the reins of ownership, entertained multiple offers, some ballooning far beyond reasonable valuations. But Ratcliffe held firm, refusing to let passion blind pragmatism. In a decisive strategic pivot, he abandoned the pursuit of a full takeover, an aggressive, costly battle that could have led to inflated prices and unstable control, and instead secured a minority stake valued at $1.65 billion. This wasn't a compromise, it was a masterstroke. The deal granted Ratcliffe operational control over key football decisions, a unique arrangement that allowed him to shape the club's future while avoiding the financial risks of an all-in purchase. This balance of control without overexposure has long been a hallmark of Ratcliffe's business philosophy, a philosophy that prizes sustainable growth over reckless gambles. Speaking openly about the acquisition, Ratcliffe described it as not a financial investment but a worthy challenge. This distinction is crucial. Unlike many who treat sports franchises as speculative assets to be flipped for profit, Ratcliffe's mindset mirrors the Ineos ethos, behave like an owner, not a speculator. Ownership to him is a responsibility, a commitment to nurture, develop, and build something lasting. The financial structure of the deal further illustrated this disciplined approach. Ratcliffe committed to injecting $300 million into the club's infrastructure, a clear message that his interest lay not just in ownership, but in the tangible rebuilding of Manchester United's foundations. Of this commitment, $200 million was paid immediately upon closing the deal, signaling a readiness to act swiftly. The remaining $100 million was scheduled to be delivered by the end of 2024, ensuring a steady, focused investment timeline. This capital was earmarked for critical upgrades, most notably to the Carrington Training Complex, a facility that had long been criticized for lagging behind Europe's elite. By prioritizing infrastructure investment, Ratcliffe demonstrated that his vision for Manchester United was rooted in long-term success, not fleeting headlines or splashy player signings. It was a strategic statement to fans and stakeholders alike. This wasn't about chasing quick wins, but about methodically rebuilding the club's culture and capabilities from the ground up. In essence, Ratcliffe's takeover battle was a textbook example of strategic patience and financial prudence, showing that in the cutthroat world of football, sometimes the best play is the one made quietly with unwavering discipline and a clear eye on sustainable success. When Sir Jim Ratcliffe finally took the reins at Manchester United, he wasn't interested in playing the high-stakes transfer market roulette that had come to define the modern football landscape. He didn't arrive with promises of instant star signings or quick fixes designed to win headlines for a season. Instead, from the very first day, Ratcliffe made it clear his mission was to rebuild the entire machine from the ground up with patience, precision, and a clear long-term vision. His guiding philosophy could be summed up in one of his now famous quotes: "We have to walk to the right solution, not run to the wrong one." This wasn't just a catchphrase, it was a deliberate blueprint for how he would approach the monumental task ahead. The focus was on methodical, thoughtful change, laying foundations that would support sustained success rather than chase and fleeting glory. The first and most urgent work began at the top. Recognizing that leadership sets the tone for any organization, Ratcliffe moved swiftly to overhaul the club's executive structure with a clear emphasis on expertise and a culture of collaboration. In a bold move, he lured Omar Berrada from arch-rivals Manchester City to become Manchester United's new CEO. Berrada's reputation for strategic insight and operational excellence made him an ideal candidate to steer the club through this period of transformation. Ratcliffe didn't stop there. He also brought in Wilcox as technical director, recruiting him from Southampton, a club known for punching above its weight through smart recruitment and youth development. Both hires were not made for show or media impact. They were calculated decisions rooted in a shared belief in data-driven decision-making, collaboration, and sustainable growth. Ratcliffe understood that true success demanded a leadership team that could work across departments: football, business, scouting, and player development, aligning everyone behind a unified vision of excellence. This strategic leadership overhaul was just one pillar of Ratcliffe's plan. The other was to transform the physical and cultural environment where the club's future would be forged, the Carrington training ground. For years, Carrington had faced criticism for lagging behind the ultra-modern facilities found at Europe's elite clubs. Even Manchester United legends like Cristiano Ronaldo publicly lamented the lack of progress, pointing to the need for a modern, inspiring environment to attract and develop top talent. Under Ratcliffe's stewardship, Carrington underwent a £50 million transformation, redefining the club's training infrastructure with world-class standards. The revamped facility now boasts cutting-edge sports science laboratories, where players' physical data is meticulously analyzed to optimize performance and reduce injury risks. It includes state-of-the-art recovery zones designed to accelerate healing and rejuvenation, helping players maintain peak condition throughout grueling seasons. Natural light floods the redesigned training pitches and indoor areas, creating a vibrant, energizing atmosphere far removed from the gloomy, outdated spaces of the past. Beyond the physical upgrade, the layout was thoughtfully planned to foster collaboration and integration between the men's team, women's squad, and academy players, cultivating a unified culture of high performance across every level of the club. At the official reopening of Carrington, Ratcliffe reflected on the importance of these changes. While a world-class facility won't take us to that place alone, I think it is one of the key ingredients in the modern world. Sir Jim Ratcliffe's path to Manchester United ownership was never about a sudden grab for power. It was the culmination of a disciplined ambition shaped by decades in the high-stakes world of petrochemicals and fueled by a boyhood love for football. His real victory lay not in simply acquiring a stake in the club, but in how he did it, patiently, strategically, and without succumbing to the frenzy of the bidding war. Every move, from the financial structure of the deal to the cultural reset at Carrington, has mirrored the Ineos blueprint, long-term vision over short-term applause. Yet Ratcliffe himself knows that securing a seat in the boardroom was only the prologue. The harder chapters lie ahead. His philosophy will ultimately be judged not on balance sheets or building plans, but on whether it delivers trophies and restores United to the summit of English and European football. And with the club's 150th anniversary approaching in 2028, Ratcliffe has set his sights on making that milestone not just a celebration of history, but a marker of renewed glory. The road is long, the work is complex, but for a man who's waited a lifetime for this moment, patience has always been part of the plan.